Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. Uh, we are trying to discuss 18 chapters, 18 sessions, discuss all 18 chapters in 18 sessions flat. So every session we're trying to complete one chapter. It's a Herculean task, as I've said many times. It's not possible, but with the help of our senior devotees, our Guru, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mercy, we are trying to do our best to learn what we can out of these chapters. So today we'll be discussing chapter 10. The title of the chapter is The Opulence of the Absolute. We'll find out. We'll do a quick revision, recap. I had Ganpati and many other festivals in last few days. So the attendance was probably a lot of people were missing out. They were asking for they were all dependent on the recordings. So hopefully it will improve going forward. But yeah, hopefully, yeah. So let's do a recap for those who missed out attending live previous sessions. So quickly, we're discussing a section. The seventh chapter to 12th chapter contains it's the heart of Bhagavad Gita. It contains the most nectarian instructions of Bhagavad Gita are in these six chapters. And the sweetest part of Bhagavad Gita is those six chapters are the sweetest part of Bhagavad Gita as well. And so we are in the middle of this. We have completed nine chapter out of 18, and we'll begin with the 10th chapter. So we are going towards the other half of Bhagavad Gita. Seventh chapter, the sixth chapter concluded with where Krishna had in the first six chapters, Krishna discussed various types of yoga, that karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga. And finally, he concludes that chapter by saying that yoginam api sarvesham, amongst all the yogis, out of all the yogis, whoever is trying to practice yoga is to unite. Unite with whom? Unite with Krishna थ्रू कर्मा, थ्रू ज्ञान और थ्रू ध्यान। ये तीन अलग अलग प्रकारों से लोग अपनी अपनी चेष्टा करते हैं भगवान को पाने के लिए। And that is the yoga. To endeavor to attain unite with the supreme is the yoga, and different people will try doing that using according to their inclinations, according to their nature, according to their psychophysical nature. They will be they will be trying to attain the same thing by different methods. Some may try using karma yoga, some may try using jnana yoga, or some may come to bhakti yoga, or some may completely disregard God and live life of atheist. No God, we are only God, or I don't care about God. That kind of mentality, that kind of philosophy that people may manufacture themselves and try and live life in that way. But Krishna is not currently discussing those. Krishna is talking about those who are trying to come to Krishna, trying to search for God. They have some inclination towards searching for the absolute truth. Now, those people, out of those people, Krishna says Bhakti Yogi is the best. Bhakti Yogi who is with faith, श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम, जो भजन करता है कृष्णा का, that bhakti yogi is considered to be the best amongst all yogis. And how this bhakti yogi should function, then so that is given in the first verse of the seventh chapter, where um, Krishna says the start the chapter starts with the call to listen, to hear, shunu, ध्यान से सुनिए. Krishna is asking Arjuna to listen attentively. So, so the shrunu is to hear. Hear what? Not mundane topics, not stock market news, not gossip, not cricket. Shrunu about knowledge about Krishna, and that is what Krishna is now going to describe in the seventh chapter. So, if you hear Krishna knowledge about that absolute truth, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, um, that will help you clear a lot of doubts and asamshayaha, and that will help you take shelter of the process. It's like when you go to a doctor, you have some disease. We don't know whether this doctor is capable of curing it or not. But when you go like discuss with the doctor assure you, give you a lot of information about the disease, and he assure you that he has cured many patients with the same disease, and he has a medicine. He know how it works, and he is very confident that you will also get cured. So that gives us knowledge, that help us clear a lot of doubts. And in that state, we are able to take shelter of that treatment. We are able to faithfully follow the instructions from the doctor. So this is taking shelter. And do what? Taking shelter but not taking medicine is not enough. So if you take shelter, you have to follow the instructions given by the doctor. Doctor will give you some do's, some don'ts, and will you give you some medicine. Similarly, Krishna has given some don'ts. Don't follow four regulative principles. Don't do meat eating. Don't do intoxication. Don't gamble. Don't have illicit sexual relationships. So these things, if you will do, will hamper your devotional life. Will have this for doing these things. You need to function at a bodily level, and spirituality begins with the knowledge of Atma. So, uh, so, so, so if you keep doing those four things, you will have no inclination, no inspiration to pursue Krishna consciousness, to search for God. Then all of your effort, whatever you have put in so far, will be lost. And then you'll have to start from your next life from wherever you left off. So devotional service, actual, we have to do things and we have to stop doing certain things which been advised, and we have to start doing certain things which we have been told to, like reading Bhagavad Gita, reading of Bhagavatam, uh, listening to the classes on Bhagavad Gita, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now these are the things which we will be told to do. This is like a medicine. Bhagavad Gita, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is like a medicine. And the instructions from Bhagavad Gita, they work like a medicine as well. So they will help us, remove all the impurities from our heart, and our heart becomes pure. Krishna can come and reside in such place. A heart filled with envy, anger, hatred, attachments to the Krishna's property. It's is impure place. Now, why will Krishna come and reside there? So, so we need to clean our heart. And in such place, Krishna can come and reside. And then, we can get attached to Krishna. The Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita 7 chapter how he's everywhere, and how one can perceive Krishna even while functioning in the world. So Krishna says, I am ability in man and women, of course. I am intelligence of the intelligent people. I am prowess of the powerful people, strength of the strong people, along with all other all other things. I'm the light in the sun and moon. So Krishna is everything, and whatever we have is because of a part of it has come from Krishna. Everything has come from Krishna. We may have a skill to we may have some talent to sing nicely. We may have talent to draw pictures nicely. Some may have a lot of intelligence with the words, languages, mathematics, science, research. People excel in various things. Some people are excellent in sports. So Krishna says all your abilities, intelligence, power and strength comes from me. So Don't be proud. Don't be proud of what you have. It has all come from me. If you use it properly, you can use it to come back to me also. But if you misuse it, you will stay back in the material world permanently almost. Then Krishna spoke about Maya. Maya is Krishna's energy. Krishna says, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratvaya. That Duratvaya, this Maya is my energy. And Duratvaya means it's very difficult to overcome. Last section we discussed why it's important to overcome Maya. But Krishna says, Mam evam yo prapadyante. If you surrender to me, then you can cross over Maya very easily. Next, Krishna speak about four type of people who never comes to him. Mudha, the foolish people. Naradhama, those who are lowest amongst the human beings. Maya या अपहरत ज्ञानम, जिनका ज्ञान माया ने अपहरण कर दिया है. Those who are considering themselves to be knowledgeable or gyanis, they could be philosophers, scientists, but they're under illusion. They live under illusion, so they don't have right knowledge. So those people they never come to Krishna. And asuram bhavam ashrita, जिनका आसुरी भाव है. And we discuss this in length with examples. But and then immediately next verse Krishna says four type of people comes to Krishna. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jigyasu अर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतवर्षभ. Last we did with activity last week that amongst these who you think you are, where you may fit. And a lot of people say that we fit in more than one definition. We are Artho definitely, we are Jigyasu also little bit, and we want something in return also. So, and some of you actually confirm that they always knew Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and they wanted to learn more about Krishna. So those are Gyani, Cha Bharatavarshava. So, law of last thought we discuss in chapter 8, that knowing that Krishna, one has to attain Krishna, then there should be method that we should be given to attain Krishna, and that is law of last thought. We accept one body after quitting another body, depending on desire stored in our mind at the time of death, and good and bad karma in our account. So karmic currency, how much currency that you possess, and what are your desires, what are your taste at the time of death, not during the lifetime, but at the time of death. So the law of last thought. Last thought is, when we are about to give up our body, what's happening with us, and that is most crucial. So death is a moment of our examination. It's not a, it's definitely a sad moment because our current association will be lost, our current properties will be lost, our current educational degrees will be lost, our current relatives will be lost, our children will be lost, our society will be lost, our medals, if we have won any, those will be lost. So there is some loss, but there is a big thing that's going to happen to us. We will be transmitted to another body. We will get our next body, depending on what we think at the moment of our death. And Krishna says 8.5 that if you remember him alone, if you remember Krishna, then you will attain Krishna. But many people, that will be difficult. So Krishna says a general statement, makes a general statement that whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Yam yam vapis maran bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram. So this is a general instruction. So what am I supposed to do? तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु माम अनुस्मर युध्य च मयि अर्पित मनोबुद्धि माम एवेश्यस्य संशयः. That therefore Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Our prescribed duty, if we are a student, our prescribed duty could be to study. Our, if we are working professional, your prescribed duty is to perform your job at workplace, so that you can maintain your family and all of you can nicely practice Krishna consciousness. If you are a businessman, you'll have to do the business. You'll have a homemaker, you have to manage home. So all of us have different prescribed duties. So Krishna says you have to do your prescribed duties by remembering him constantly. Sarveshu Kaleshu is very important. And by with active where activity is dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So knowledge, learning this is important. Hearing is important, but practical application is most important. Only then it will be possible for us to remember Krishna constantly. The most confidential knowledge we discuss in the ninth chapter about the most confidential knowledge. The conclusion, Prabhupada writes, the most confidential knowledge is that Lord Krishna takes personal interest in his devotee's life. This intimate relationship is the essential understanding presented in the Gita. Remember 4.3 Gita Rahasyam. We started by discussing this is the first verse we discussed in our first session, and which describes that this is Rahasyam Eha Etada Uttamam. Krishna Prabhupada writes in the commentary in the translation that the science of relationship, this rahasya, what is the rahasya? Science of relationship with the absolute truth, with the supreme personality of Godhead. That each soul has intimate personal relationship with Krishna, and understanding this relationship, uncovering, discovering this aspect of the relationship itself is the science, is the is the information that we get from Bhagavad Gita. So this is the most confidential part, that this is not a one way relationship. It is not that we are servant of Krishna, so we have to keep serving Krishna. uh, it's a it's a reciprocal relationship. As we surrender to Krishna, Krishna reciprocate with us, and that makes this relationship sweeter and nectarian. So Krishna likes to serve his devotees also. So Krishna becomes Parthasarthi for Arjuna. In the Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna was washing feet of all the guests who were coming because he wanted to serve his devotees. So it's not a one-way traffic. So so that is, and if devotee is facing any challenges, Krishna personally take interest in the life of his devotees, and that is the intimate part of it. So if you choose to become a devotee of Lord Krishna, rest assured that Krishna is personally looking into your life, and Krishna can change your life. Krishna can easily change the law of karma. For you, Krishna says, Sammoham Sarva Bhuteshu. I'm equal to everyone. But those who become my devotee, I take special care of them. So it is open for everyone to become devotee. Becoming devotee, there is no pre-qualification required. So to that extent, it is impartial. It is, there's no partiality there. It's not that you need to be of Indian origin, you need to have Indian passport to become devotee. American can become a Japanese can become, Chinese can become devotee, European can become a devotee, Australians can become a devotee. Everyone, it's open to everyone. For so becoming Krishna devotee is an open offer given to each and every living entity, each and every human being, especially. But and the Krishna says, the moment you become my devotee, I will take special care of you. Yogakshema vahamyaham. Then Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. If you offer my when my devotees offer with love and devotion a fruit, a flower, a leaf, or water, I'm forced to accept it. I can't say no. I don't say that I'm not thirsty, I'm not hungry, I don't care about this small leaf that you're offering. I am forced to accept that. Love and devotion forces me to accept it. So I personally come and accept. I can come through a picture, I can come through in mind also. You can offer to Krishna and Krishna can accept it. Krishna is forced to accept it. He doesn't accept it because he's hungry. He will not accept. Even, last session we discussed that the Duryodhana wanted to offer him a big feast, but he was not interested. He doesn't want to take anything from non-devotees, but from his devotees, Vidura's wife, he accepted the banana leaf also, and he ate, and he said it's very tasty. While she was in ecstasy, she was throwing bananas pulp and she was offering banana leaves to Krishna, and Krishna ate that. So so that is intimate relationship is the essential understanding presented in the Gita. Understanding this naturally leads one to take the path of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the verse 34 of this chapter. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskaru mam evishyasi sat yuktatmay atmanam matparayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. This brings us to chapter 10. The acronym we'll use today is C, source of everything, essence of Gita, and everywhere. Krishna is everywhere, source of everything. The connection between chapter 9 and 10. Krishna ends the ninth chapter with a imperative to fix mind on Krishna. 9.34, Krishna says, Man mana. In 7.1 also, Krishna says, get your mind attached to me. So there's a mind, we have to utilize our mind to get attached to. Our mind is attached to many things. Our mind is attached to watching movies, listening to the rock music, watching sports, uh, taking interest in politics, taking interest in economics, and so on and so forth. Hundreds of things are on our mind. Krishna says, all that will help you come back again in the material world. But if you bring me in your mind, if you get your mind to attach to me, my form, my pastimes, my name, my dham, my devotees, if you somehow or the other, there's a verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that येन केन प्रकारेण मन कृष्ण निवेशते. येन केन प्रकारेण मतलब किसी भी प्रकार, इस प्रकार या उस प्रकार, साम दाम दंड भेद कुछ भी यूज करो, बट somehow or other get your mind attached to Krishna. Niveshate is a beautiful word again. Nivesh means invest. As we invest in stock market, invest in mutual fund, invest in fixed deposit or in a bank, Krishna says like that you invest your mind, and then I can give you rich dividends. I can give you rich returns. But for that, the investment first has to happen from our end. So yena kena prakarena. So how it is then possible to attach our mind with Krishna, to constantly think of Krishna, unless we know in more deeper detail about Krishna. And therefore, the chapter 10 describes the Lord's opulence on which a devotee can then fix his mind on and then try to remember him. When we see opulent, powerful, and beautiful things, naturally we get attracted towards them. Opulent, powerful, beautiful, those are the people who become very famous, who have a lot of followers. Why? Because they generally are very attractive. These are vibhutis. There is something vishesh about these living entities. Vishesh, somebody have Sachin Tendulkar has skill to bat, hit the cricket ball with a lot of skill. Somebody may have a footballer may have skill to kick the ball with a lot of skill. A tennis player has a different kind of skill. Athlete has a different kind of skill. A singer, an actor, a politician, a businessman, the number one rich person in the world, and the most beautiful, the Miss World or Miss Universe. All of they have different स्पेशलिटीज इन देम, समथिंग स्पेशल अबाउट देम, विशेष कुछ होता है उन लोगों में. एंड जो लिविंग एंटिटीज में कुछ विशेष होता है तो उनको विभूति कहते हैं. एंड सो दोज विभूतिज आर अट्रैक्टिव. People get attracted naturally to see those vibhutis because they may have something. We may also have we may also consider ourselves to be good looking, but some people are extremely good looking and they catch attention of the whole of humanity. So that's why they are chosen as, say, Miss Universe or Miss World of this world, Miss India in the country, and so forth, so on and so forth. So they definitely, it's not that she is the only beautiful woman in the India when she become Miss India, but she has something special, and that special is Vibhuti, is known as Vibhuti. So conclusion of chapter 9 is that one should become pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, chapter 10 will increase our devotion by hearing more about Krishna's opulence. The first verse, Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shru Me Paranamam Paramam Vachaha Yatte Ham Priyamanaya Vakshayami Hitakamyaya. Beautiful verse again. Krishna saying that Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shru Me Paramam Vacha. Shunu. Again, this is the call for hearing. The 7.1 also started with a call to hear. The first verse, Krishna says, there was no question asked, but Krishna started the section, that chapter by making a call to hear attentively. Now, here also, Krishna is saying the same thing, repeating the same thing. Now, oh, my dear Arjuna, my dear, you are my dear friend, and for your benefit, hita kamaya. Hita means benefit. Kuch acha, hita, hiteshi, the one who is well wisher. They speak for our hita, for our benefit. And why is Krishna speaking? Because he's a dear friend. Arjuna is dear friend of Krishna. So whatever Krishna is now going to speak, it is for the benefit of his dear friend. And paramam vacha, I'm not going to speak something ordinary. I will give something which I have not yet spoken. So this is something better than what I have already explained. So very, so this shows how intimate loving relationship that existed between Krishna and Arjuna. Repeatedly Krishna is expressing his love for Arjuna, and while speaking, just not doing duty of a chariot driver, uh, but intimate, loving expression that Krishna is bringing it every now and then. It just makes it. This is a song of love. This is not a song which is a violent song which inspired Arjuna, incited Arjuna to fight a war and kill so many people. This is song of love, and that Prabhupada writes in the purport. The more one hears about Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. So uh, all of you are anxious to be in Krishna conscious. Otherwise, you would have had 100 things to do today. So, but you chose to be in the class, attend, hear attentively, is because you're anxious to become Krishna conscious. And the Prabhupada says only these kind of devotees can benefit from the discussion on Bhagavad Gita. Those who are not anxious, those who treat Bhagavad Gita to be a mundane topic to be discussed over a, it can be it doesn't matter how it is discussed. You can discuss it in a classroom setup with all sincerity, seriousness, desire to learn, or you can discuss it over a tea party, over a beer party, and doesn't matter. So those people cannot benefit from any discussion that also they may become part of on the Bhagavad Gita topic. One should be anxious, one should be eager to hear Krishna Katha. One should be eager to know more about Krishna. Because Krishna, if we want to go to Krishna, we want to know more about Krishna. And hence, that anxiety should be there to learn more and more about Krishna. That newness is ever always there. And that should inspire us to hear more about Krishna. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear, non-envious of friend, very dear friend of him, he is for his benefit such discourse are taking place. Given here the benefits of hearing with devotees and hearing from non-devotees. The non-devotees are, we last discussed last Anusuya way when discussing the verse on word Anusuya way, we discussed why it is important to be non-envious of Krishna and how people become envious of Krishna when we don't even personally know Krishna. So people become envious of Krishna because of their tendencies to become a little Krishna in their own way, a little God in their own field of activity. I want to become best batsman in the world. I want to become the best singer in the world. I want to become the richest person in the planet. I want to become number one, the best in the best student in my class, and so on and so forth. So Krishna has possessed all these qualities in their full, and we are trying to snatch or possess them forcibly and show it off to everyone that I also have it. Krishna may be having it 100 times more than me, but even I'm not ordinary as well. So we are all competing with Krishna. those who are competing with Krishna cannot have a submissive attitude towards Krishna. And hence, when we hear it from non-devotees, hear it with non-devotees, their envy towards Krishna increases, their competitiveness towards Krishna increases, and hence, they don't benefit. Their envy towards Krishna increases, their path going back to Krishna becomes more difficult. But when we hear it with devotees, devotees are already in love with Krishna, and their appreciation for Krishna increases, and their love for Krishna increases. Therefore, we should always hear Krishna Katha in association of devotees. Otherwise, it can have a counter effect. Instead of increasing our love, we may our doubts only may increase if we hear it from non-devotees, and eventually we will trip, we will go away from the path of Krishna consciousness. Third verse, Krishna says, so there are a couple of verses where Krishna has been repeatedly saying about the envious nature of people. So in the 4.3, Krishna says, "Sa evayam mayatodya yoga praktah puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam etada uttamam." That because because you are non-envious of me, then that's therefore I'm revealing you this secret. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoha sarge yanti parantapa. Because ichha and dvesha, the desire and hate towards Krishna, uh, idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyam anusuyave. Again, Krishna is making the point that because you are non-envious of me, you are never envious of me, I will give you this rahasya, ya uttama rahasya. I'll give you this guhyatamam, secret knowledge. So, so the focus is that we should hear from devotees. Now, why it is important to identify serious devotees? How to recognize a devotee, serious devotee in the world? Any thoughts from anyone? Krishna repeatedly, Padas also said that we should hear from devotees. Why it is important? And first of all, how can we identify if someone is a pure devotee or not? Do they carry a label? Do they have a certificate? How do we know if someone is a proper devotee or not so much, not a proper devotee? Yeah, anybody can raise hand, please. I can see Vikas Roji's hand raise. Can go to him last. Yeah, Anamika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So, Prabhuji, we can understand who is a pure devotee only by associating with them constantly, so that we come to know from their everything that like we do. We know in our association who are I mean pure devotees and all. So that way we can understand who is a pure devotee only by associating with them more often as possible. So that way
Okay.
only we can know.
By associating, we can come to know. Yes, Purva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we can see the pure devotee is they will tell about the Krishna, how Krishna is great for us, how he can change our life, and he will always with Krishna. I mean, they will go to ISKCON. They have the Bhagavad Gita with them, so they will tell that read the Bhagavad Gita, you will get all the good things from the Bhagavad Gita. So you will change the life through the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much, Apurva. Bhagyashri Mataji, Nagendra, and Sadhana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As for me, like a pure devotee, like who serve Krishna and who is always engaged in distributing or sharing or giving Krishna praise to others, or knowledge about Bhagavad Gita and Krishna, and the like a pure knowledge.
Okay,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
आई हैड हिंदी में बताऊं मतलब प्रभु जी।
Yeah. No problem.
मतलब मैंने भी सुना है, ये मुझे पता नहीं था। डिवोटीज हमेशा शास्त्र को कोट करके बताते हैं। वो अपने खुद की उनका उसमें नहीं डालते हैं, उनका स्पेकुलेशन नहीं डालते हैं। शास्त्र को कोट करके बताते हैं और हमेशा वो सेवा में और वो जो बताते हैं वो करते भी हैं। जो
Okay.
करते हैं वही बताते हैं, ऐसा
Okay.
मैंने सुना है, वही मैं शेयर कर रही हूँ प्रभु
Yeah,
जी।
very nice. Hare Krishna.
हरे
Thank you so
कृष्ण।
much. Yes, very nice. Yes, Kanchan Mataji and then Nagendra Prabhuji.
Jai Shri Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
As per my understanding, the pure devotee is the one who is acting as a translator. He's not a speculator or a converter. He just acts like whatever is mentioned there. If how we can understand it in an easy language, in a way day to day life, how we can implement it. He just translates it. Just act as a translator, and he himself believe in serving to Krishna. Himself does all these things, and whatever he has learned he will not mix his understanding in this while transferring it to the other devotees.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. Uh, we'll take one last comment from Sachi Mataji. You want to speak?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, for me, serious devotees will always push us towards the Lord. They won't tell us that I am the Lord, worship me. Through their behavior also, and they will be humble, and they'll tell us more about the Lord, and they'll try to make us understand more about the Lord, and they'll push us towards the Lord, and it can be shown in their actions too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Another question. Just twist this question. Why it is important for us to identify a pure devotee? Because we are new to Krishna consciousness. Why it is important to have identify a pure devotee and then follow that path? Why it is so important? Simple.
Prabhuji,
Otherwise,
Yeah. Go ahead.
otherwise we'll go on a different path. No, we will be misleaded. Like it's important to go on a right path because there are so many babajis and so many things are going on in today's world. So if we'll get into that, it would be very tough for us to be on the right path, and it's important to go in a right direction, that
Right
only
direction.
we can go back to
What
Krishna.
happens if we go to wrong path? We lose time. We lose time, our energies. So then, we'll time, we lose time is the most important essence. Time, effort, money, energy, all of that can be wasted. And then, our mind will get cluttered with a lot of doubts. Maybe सारे लोग ऐसे होते हैं. Maybe, there could be, and then, even if we again come across a genuine process, it will become difficult for us to put our faith on that because we've had one bad experience. Now we will think that everything probably is similar. So that's why. So we'll go to other. We'll go to the slides. We'll have other opportunities for us to discuss again. But as rightly, a lot of you have said very correctly, Rupa Goswami gives us a tangible method to verify if someone is advanced devotee or not. And he gives in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 9 points using which we can evaluate, we can double check. It's not that because we may associate, but we may invest our mind and energy and time in practicing something. If that is not bona fide, then we might it might get lost. So there henceforth, therefore, it's important for us to be on the right path, choose right path, and then invest ourselves into that. So these devotees, the external evidence, internally anybody can say I'm a very pure devotee, but that's all internal to me. How can you validate it? You can validate it through these external evidences that such devotees are always anxious to utilize his time in the service of Lord, always reserved and preservant. They are not interested in discussing worldly topics. Um, so so that is gossip. They don't gossip. They don't talk unnecessarily about stock market, economics, politics, who should win, who should lose, which sports, what's they will be reserved, they will be preservant. They'll always be detached from the material attractions, does not long for respect for his activities. So the number 5 is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. They have confidence, rakshasya iti vishwaso, that Krishna will protect. Always eager to serve Lord faithfully. That they have faith that Krishna will protect, but they are also action oriented. They are not lazy. They're always eager to serve Lord faithfully, very much attached to the chanting of the holy name, always eager to describe transcendental qualities of the Lord, and very pleased to live in a place where Lord's pastimes have taken place, like Mathura and Vrindavan. So these are the external evidences using which we can validate. And a lot of you have said correctly that one is trying to live the same philosophy that one is preaching. If I'm preaching one thing but I'm doing something else, that's duplicity. That's not correct. That's a clear red flag, as we say, that something is wrong. So that's how we find out whether we are at a right place, and that's how Prabhupada has been insisting that you should find that's a preliminary validation we should do before we invest ourselves into any process. So going forward, uh, न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहम आदिर्हि देवानां महर्षिणां च सर्वशः. So neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin and opulence, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. Aham adirhi devanam maharshinam. So all the demigods, they come after me. So because they come after me, it's like I come after my grandparents. So I cannot know my grandparents unless they tell me, because simply sequentially I came later. So they know about me because they would have seen me taking birth. Right from my birth, they are observing me, they are seeing me, so they know me completely. But I cannot know them. I can know them only when they reveal themselves to me. Similarly, Krishna says, nobody can know me, not even the demigods, not even the great rishis, because I existed even when none of them existed. They are all coming from me. So, so this is big revelation. Anybody can quickly tell me if they remember this scene? What's happening here? Very quickly. One of them only. One of you only can unmute and speak straight away.
They are just inquiring whether when they meet Amir Khan, they're just shocked to see, and they are just asking whether they have already taken the decision of running from the marriage, and they are wondering whether he is married or not. As
Yeah.
far
So
as I
this is the
remember.
last scene in this movie towards the end. Now, what he's revealing here, they're all looking in a state of shock. Do you know why they are shocked? Or anybody
Because
remember
they know, then they realize that exactly he is.
who exactly
Until
he is?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what he's revealed? That he's the
He reveals his name
scientist.
and
Yeah.
scientist. He's a great scientist who has been awarded with so many awards.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
they were friends. They knew each other during engineering days. You've seen this is movie Three Idiot, and these were friends during engineering time, and then he disappears after that. Then they lost track, and after suddenly, so many years, they meet him, and then as he's revealing himself more and more, they just knew him as a friend from my college, hostel. We used to have fun, this that. But suddenly he says, oh, I have so many patents, so many discoveries I have made. And they knew the name, but they didn't know the face. And they suddenly realized that face is him. He is that Fungsuk Wangdu or whatever. And now what would happen? Now they're all dear friend of him. After getting a revelation that their friend, they knew this person, but now that person is so much glorious, much more glorious than what they had thought him. They all loved him before. What happens to their love when they discover that their friend has done he's such a great person, he's such a great scientist of today's time. Their love increases. And because they are already in love, their love increases towards that person, their affection increases. So their love and affection for him grew multifold after knowing about his sweetness and greatness. So similarly, when we hear Krishna Katha in association of devotees, it's a rough example. How can we come closer to Krishna knowing about his Aishwarya, his greatness, and Madhurya, his sweetness? So, this is how we can understand that learning about Krishna, how it can be beneficial for us to go closer to Krishna. So, again, grandfather's son, grandson example, we can ask grandfather. Our grandfather, we will not know about our grandfather unless and until he reveals it to us. Similarly, Krishna is now going to reveal a lot of knowledge about himself. So we can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Only the devotees who are surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand by the grace of the Supreme Personality that he is Krishna. No one else can understand him. Now, um, so these are few examples of pastimes where some of the biggest demigods misunderstood Krishna. One first pastime we are seeing is Brahmaji is on his swan aeroplane. He heard that Aghasur was killed by someone. One boy, small boy named Krishna, killed Aghasur in Vrindavan. When Brahmaji thought of taking a look at this fellow, who he is he really his master or he's some duplicate? And he came down. When he came down, he saw Krishna was having lunch with his friends after the Aghasur Leela. They said, "Let's go and have lunch." And then he was eating. He was eating half-eaten laddus. The people were feeding each other. All these friends were snatching food from his mouth and they were eating. And Krishna also was doing the same thing. Now Brahmaji was bewildered seeing all these things. He said, "I am my master. Krishna is my master. I'm born out of Vishnu, but I understand Krishna is master. That origin, and this is what I have only written, that Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana, ये सब मैंने लिखा है. भगवान और वो कृष्ण पुरुषोत्तम भगवान है, पूर्ण पुरुषोत्तम भगवान है. और भगवान को भोग लगाना पड़ता है. भगवान को ऐसे खिलाते हैं जो मैंने खाया है उसको जाके लड्डू स्टफ कर रहे हैं भगवान के मुंह में. इस तरह से भगवान को थोड़ी खिलाते हैं. भगवान को तो क्लीन प्लेट में फूड डालते हैं, अच्छे से कुक करते हैं, क्लीन प्लेट में रखते हैं, तुलसी लेके जाते हैं, भगवान के सामने रखते हैं, ढक के रखते हैं, मंत्र पढ़ते हैं, पानी घुमाते हैं, मंत्र पढ़ते हैं, भगवान को प्रणाम करते हैं, दंडवत करते हैं, रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, प्लीज आप एक्सेप्ट कीजिए. बड़ा लंबा प्रोसेस दिया है. ये क्या हो रहा है? एंड दैट्स व्हाट bewildered ब्रह्मा जी. एंड ब्रह्मा जी then then hid all the calves and cows, and then hid all the friends, and then Krishna expands, and ultimately Brahma comes to his senses that I should not test Krishna. I should not develop a taste for Krishna Katha. And he comes and beg for forgiveness. Govardhan Leela. All of you probably should be knowing this. Kartik month, when all these Leelas took place, we'll be going to Vrindavan in the October month, where we will go to Govardhan on multiple occasions, hopefully, along with Dinbandhu Prabhuji, who has been living in Vrindavan since 1984, and he's been expert in telling Krishna Katha. Not just narration, but he lives Krishna Katha himself, and then he narrates what he see. Such a beautiful devotee of Lord Krishna. And we'll have great fortune of hearing from him in Vrindavan in the Kartik Mass from 25th October till 3rd November. So all of you who are interested, feel free to let us know. We'll try and make arrangement for your accommodation and travel. So the Govardhan Leela, after Govardhan Leela, Indra comes. Indra, it is said that Indra was furious to know that Govardhan Vasis, Brajavasis are not offering him his puja. So he started dropping rain of which every drop of rain was that of a size of an elephant. He wanted to destroy Vrindavan, and nothing could happen to Vrindavan. Krishna lifted Govardhan, and everyone, the whole city, whole city got accommodated under the hill, and that's how Krishna protected everyone. Krishna gave his personal association to everyone for 7 days and 7 nights until when the rain was going on. And after that, Krishna kept the Govardhan down and everything was normal. But Indra, realizing his mistake, came and begged for forgiveness from Krishna. So it is so what to speak of our scholars. today's world, who are writing commentaries on Krishna, who think that they know Krishna, and therefore they are giving their opinion about Krishna's actions. They're expressing their thoughts about Krishna without knowing anything about Krishna. What to speak of these people when Brahmaji can get bewildered, when Lord Indra can get bewildered, who are actually servants of Krishna? What to speak of scholars of today's times who are writing garbage about Krishna? Why they're using their own intelligence, using their manufacturing their own philosophy or own thought process. They are writing about Krishna. How can they comment on Krishna? And what? So therefore, we should be extremely careful in accepting, even reading, even exposing ourselves to such nonsense, which can be very detrimental for our spiritual growth. So we discuss this. So Krishna says in the next verse, he says that he who knows me as the unborn, Yomam Ajam Anadim cha Veti Lokamaheshwaram Asamudah Samartyeshu Sarva Papehe Pramuchate. That he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, that Veti, that is Aham, Aham, Ajam, Anadi, Ajam and Anadi. These are the two words. Ajam means unborn, Anadi means beginningless. As the Supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only undeluded amongst men is freed from all sins. Interesting question. How can we become free just simply by knowing Krishna? What happens when you know Krishna? It's just one question, but just written in. So, whichever way you want to answer, it's just one question. So, how can we become free from knowing Krishna? If we know Krishna, what happens really?
We understand our existence, and we understand that we are a part of that supreme God, and we understand what life is. We are just atma, which is not perishable, not dieable, and we are just part. We just have to devote our life to Him, and we have to reach Him in the last.
Okay. So, we learn a lot of things, and when we learn, what happens? That's the question. So, yeah, this is knowledge. That is good. Sadhana Mataji and Anamika Mataji after that.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare
हाँ,
Krishna.
जब सुनते हैं ना, कोई भी चीज हो जिसी के बारे में हम सुनेंगे तो हमको उनके बारे में पता चलेगा, और अच्छा हो तो हम लोग को वो टच कर देता है, मतलब हम चेंज हो जाते हैं वैसा। अभी नॉर्मली
Change.
के बारे में
Okay.
सुनेंगे तो सब चेंज हो जाते हैं। जैसे अगर भगवान के सुप्रीम लॉर्ड के बारे में सुनेंगे तो कब अभी कृष्णा के लीला सुनते हैं ना हम लोग, मतलब कोई भी हो, कितना भी वो नास्तिक हो, थोड़ा तो उनको टच कर देते हैं, उनके लीला वैसा है,
Hmm. So
इसलिए वो।
this, so you said something about change, which is nice to hear. Anamika Mataji, and then very quick comments. Uh,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. What we learn, like what is the purpose of our existence? Why are we born? Why did we get this human birth? What is the goal of our life? Ultimate goal of our soul. I mean, where should the soul be actually? All these things in deep we learn, and definitely I would also like to add the same thing as Sadhana Mataji, that yes, our life changes. The perspective, how we look at life, it changes. So that's the
okay.
reason.
So I'm still missing one point. Vaishnavi and Devshi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, by hearing Krishna or by knowing Lord Krishna, our mind becomes purified. And when the mind becomes purified, we get attached and more attracted to Lord.
Attracted to Lord. Okay. Devshi. Devshi Mehta. You're there.
Yes, yes. Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji. Can
Krishna.
you hear me? हाँ। तो जैसे सबने बोला वो तो है ही, लाइफ पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज हो जाता है, लाइफ चेंज हो जाती है, थिंकिंग पूरा चेंज हो जाता है। बट उसके साथ साथ एक दूसरी चीज मेनली ये है कि लाइफ में करना क्या है उसका हमारे पास एक क्लैरिटी आ जाती है। कमाना क्या है, पैसा, फेम, वो सब नहीं। जो जिंदगी चलती है, जो लाइफ चलती है, वो कर्मों पे चलती है। तो मेन हमें ये नॉलेज मिलता है कि कर्म और कर्म के सिद्धांत क्या है।
Okay. So that was Radha Mataji, not Devshi. Devshi, you want to
मोह
also
माया
speak?
से दूर हो जाते हैं।
यस यस
मोह
यस।
माया से दूर हो जाते हैं।
Mohammed said that. Okay. One last comment. Vikas Prabhuji, last time I couldn't give you a chance to speak,
Hare
so
Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. No, it's fine, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Can you just share the slide, Prabhuji, that as you asked the question? Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Sorry, man. When we know about Krishna, actually, then we come to know our existence, that our existence is very minuscule, and our eternal position is the eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. Then we try to direct all our activities toward in the service of Lord, and then ultimately we are following the instruction of Lord when He says that यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोयम कर्म बंधना तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संग समाचर. So we are actually heading on a path which takes us towards Krishna, and then all our life become the consciousness, our consciousness is uplifted towards Krishna. So that simply destroys all our sins. That as yesterday Ramru Prabhuji was mentioning, that sin destroying formula is 3.9 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So that happens actually, Guruji, in my understanding. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Guruji. You are on mute, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Is this better? Yeah, this is fine, right? You can hear, right?
Yes,
Yes,
Krishna.
Guruji.
Yes.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
okay, yeah, that's correct. So I think a lot of you mentioned a lot of things. Two, three things came up. Sadhana Mataji said about change, and I think Radha Mataji mentioned about actions. We can direct, we know what to do. So so knowledge action leads to change. That is what will happen. So when we are in association of devotees, when we so the when we want to know about Krishna, when we the inquiries of the fortunate soul, 7.3 says Manushyanam Sahasreshu, that a very few people are inquiring in the real sense. People are inquiring how can I get married? People are inquiring where will I get my next promotion? People are inquiring about where to find job, where to find a new home, where to buy a car, so and so forth. But their inquiries, nobody is inquiring that who are we? Are we body, mind, or soul? Why are we suffering in the world? So very fortunate people can have such kind of inquiries, and from where we come, where we are going to go, or what happens to the people who die, what happens to my father who left his body. uh, so so these are the inquiries, these are the deep philosophical inquiries. These also should be made, because only in human life you can make these inquiries and you can search for these answers, and the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita provide for these answers. In no other in That's the primary difference in the human form of life and animal form of life. In animal form of life, eating, mating, sleeping, defending is provided. A dog does it, a cat does it, hog does it, horse does it. So all animals do it. They eat, they mate, eating, mating, sleeping, defending. So all of those activity, if these are the four activities which are common between animals and humans, but only human can make these inquiries. And if those humans who keep themselves limited, all their actions limited only to do those four activities of eating, mating, sleeping, defending, in a sophisticated way, in a larger quantity and quality, improve the quality and quantity of those four activities alone. If they keep their life focus on those four activities alone, then they are missing out on making higher inquiries. These are the higher inquiries. Who really owns and control this world? What is the purpose of this world? What is the purpose of life? Why, if while the world has so much system, so much method, so much process, so much intelligence we can witness in the world, is designed in such a beautiful way, why death destroy or disturbs everything? So these are the the questions. These are the questions. Our body itself is a masterpiece of creation. The whole body is master machine. Then, if after creating such a master machine, why are you putting a expiry date on it? Why you can't make things if you can create such a beautiful design, why you cannot make it last long, last ever, last forever, so that we can continue? Why are we getting old? Why are we dying, and why are we getting new bodies? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of all these activities? So Krishna speaks in fourth and fifth verse that the intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, infamy. Uh, all these the various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. Any one of us can claim to have many of these qualities. And now we know the source of these. These are created by Krishna. These came from Krishna. Text 6, Krishna says that the seven great sages and before them the four great sages of and the Manus, the progenitor of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating on the various planets descends from them. Text 7, one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. Now, this is the crux. Knowledge should lead to action. This brings us to a beautiful section called Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. Verse 8, 9, 10, and 11 contains the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And the first verse in this section is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mattah Sarvam Pravartate Itimatva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. So I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So there are two parts to it very clearly. One is to acquire knowledge, and second is to act on that knowledge with all our heart, wholeheartedly. So if you those who stop with the first step, that they acquire knowledge but don't act on that knowledge, are not very wise people, are not very intelligent people, because eventually they will forget what they have heard. So similarly, um, if you know, knowing great how great Krishna is good but not good enough. It is good but not good enough, because unless we act on our knowledge, we submit ourselves to Krishna, we surrender ourselves to Krishna, we offer ourselves to Krishna, we become Krishna devotee, and start serving Krishna in that mood. Unless the second step happen, the first the benefit of knowledge will not get accrued. Therefore, a lot of people, for them, Bhagavad Gita remains to be a mystery. Why? Because they are not, even if they get knowledge, they are unable to act on the knowledge. So action is critical. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from Krishna. Everything, all planets come from Krishna. This whole planetary system is just one creation. There are millions and billions of such planets. So Krishna says planets, on all the living entities living on all the planets, all of them come from me. So we should not think that we only are, we are the only planet where there are living entities. Now, this verse is very significant, and we'll discuss about one important concept in the Bhakti tradition. It is called Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana. Sambandha Krishna, Abhidheya Bhakti, Prayojana Krishna Prema. That is the knowledge. So, Sambandha, what is Sambandha? What do you understand by Sambandha means? So, look, just pay attention. These are little complex philosophical points. So kindly pay attention so that you can understand them properly. Sambandha is when we understand the object with which we have to develop a relationship. That is the sambandha. We get knowledge about the object with which we want to have a relationship. Abhidheya is the action taken or the process followed for developing that relationship. Prayojana is the ultimate goal or objective that we wish to achieve with that process. Let's take for an example a car. So you all can see, right? the we see a new car model and develop a desire to own that car. Okay, we may, what do we do then? We visit a showroom. We may visit a new showroom where that car is being put up on display, a wonderful feature. Then we meet a salesman who will come across immediately, seeing us eagerly, inquiring about. We enter the showroom, immediately somebody will catch hold of us. That they'll know that come with a lot of inquisitiveness. So they will be they start explaining beautiful features of this car. Oh, this is that. This is that good. These are the speciality. This is specially built. This is not there in any other car of any other model, and so on and so forth. So they'll keep explaining in detail, and as we hear the glories of that car, our desire to own that car becomes a urge to own that car. Desire become very it becomes urgent because desire. It's not that I want to own this car 5 years down the line, and the moment I'm seeing it now, I want to like own it now. It's become now. So this is called Sambandha Jnana, which means to establish ownership relationship with this model of car. So it's basically to establish relationship to you need knowledge, and that's what comes from the Sambandha Gyan. For buying, now it's not a process. By buying, we need to follow a process. There has to be we have to liquidate some savings. These are big cars. It's not that we can buy it with our pocket money. We need to see if there are any financing arrangements that are available, and we need to do a lot of actions, lot of take care of a lot of actions. So this is called Abhideya Gyan. Abhideya Gyan is to act to realize the relationship. Once you know the relationship, you need to act to realize that relationship. Lastly, Prayojana is to fulfill the final goal for which we set out towards our object. Now, by owning a car, is by having owning a car, we may get a registration certificate or invoice in our name. That invoice doesn't give us a satisfaction. That is not fulfilling my heart. Then the car in my garage is good, but not good enough, because that is also not going to fulfill my heart. So my happiness comes from little happiness come from when I see that invoice. I may have tears in my eyes. Oh, finally I own a Jaguar, or finally I own a Mercedes or BMW. I may have tears. I've done so much hard work. Now finally it's there in front of me. On the document it is with me. Or I when I see that parked outside my home, I feel extremely proud. I see how my owners of how my neighbors are looking at it, feeling envious about it, and so on and so forth. So uh, so that can give me some satisfaction for some time, but uh, ultimately my ultimate satisfaction can come by driving the car. By I may have bought it for my parents. I want to take my family out for a vacation. I'll make them sit. I will like, and I'll drive myself. I may help others drive it, and by I'll I'll enjoy the drive, and that is the purpose. That is the ultimate purpose. That is the ultimate prayojana for which I am buying a car. Not buying a car to see a registration certificate in my name, not buying a car to see invoice in my name, and not just buying a car to make it stand in front of my home. And while other people can look at it and feel envious. These are maybe if they give some happiness to me, some joy to me, maybe that's a secondary joy. My primary joy comes from using the car, from satisfying the from having enjoying the car with my loved ones. So this is ultimate prayojana. When connection with Krishna consciousness, the science which discusses the relationship of living entity with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Sambandha Gyan, Sambandha Krishna, knowledge of the relationship. The knowledge which describe how one can act in this relationship with the Supreme Lord is called Abhideya Gyan, that is Bhakti Yoga. That what we should do when we just know that Krishna's Aishwarya and Madhurya, or greatness and sweetness, knowing that if we unless we act in the abhideya, we are not going to realize that knowledge. not going to experience the spiritual happiness that Krishna is ready to offer us. So for that, Abhideya Jnana is required. That is sadhana bhakti is required. The relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Lord is described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nitya Das. The living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Chatamrit, Madhya Lila 20:108. Chapter 20, verse 108. Therefore, to act in this that relationship, one must perform sadhana bhakti or prescribed duties of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Abhideya Gyan. The knowledge that describes the result of such devotional service, Prayojana Jnana. That is Prayojan Gyan. The ultimate goal is life is to attain Krishna Prem and go back home, back to Godhead. If one adheres to the regulative principles under the order of spiritual master, he very easily achieves this ultimate goal of his life. A person who is addicted to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra can very easily gets the opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Sambandha Krishna, Sambandha, know how great Krishna is and develop a desire to attain him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Tell us about the greatness of Krishna. That everything I am pervades everything and everything emanates from me, everything comes from me. Abhideya, follow the process of bhakti or devotional service to Krishna. So this verse, the iti matva bhajante mam. That is the that is the the abhideya gyan and prayojana buddha bhava samanvitaha. Buddha, wise, intelligent, become intelligent and worship me in wholehearted way, in lovingly. मच्चित्त मद्गता प्राणाः बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्या तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च. Beautiful verse. This is second verse in the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. Machchitta madgata pranaha. Prana, machchitta, every your thoughts of my devotee, my pure devotee, dwell in me. Dwell is like a home. They are parked in me. My thoughts of my pure devotees are parked in me. It's like I am like a home to them. Home is the place where we have nothing to do. We go home. When pure devotees of Lord, they have nothing else to do. They go to Krishna. So that is how Machitta, Madgata Prana, Madgata Prana, that their lives are fully devoted to my service. And Bodhayantaha Parasparam, Bodhayanta, they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about in me. Kathayantascha mam nitya tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Tushyanti is like tushyanti, ramanti. They are always happy. They derive great satisfaction and bliss. Tushyanti ramanti. And by doing what? By doing kathayantascha mam nitya, कृष्ण कथा करके एक दूसरे से कृष्ण कथा शेयर करके they derive great satisfaction and bliss. So this is the state of pure devotees. This is in one verse what Rupa Goswami explained in the nine bullets. So this is one verse explains the pure devotees, state of pure devotees. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subject. The symptoms of pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna and they take pleasure in discussing him with one other devotees. That's tall order, isn't it? ब्रह्मांडे भ्रमितो कोनो भाग्यवान जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसादे पाए भक्ति लता बीज. In the Chaitanya Chatamrut 19 chapter, Madhya Lila 19 chapter verse 151, Krishna says that Brahmande Brahmito, the Brahmanda, we say Abrahma Bhuvanar Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. माम उपेते तो कौनते पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. Brahmanda, we saw the picture of Brahmanda, that from right from Brahma Loka to Patal Loka, the highest and the lowest, the 14 planetary system. Krishna says, Mahaprabhu says that you are wandering in these different planetary systems. You are taking birth in all of these planets, but where there is a repeated birth and repeated death. And गुरु कृष्ण प्रसादे पाए भक्ति लता बीज, बट उसको भक्ति लता बीज गुरु और कृष्ण के प्रसाद, मर्सी, मर्सी से मिलता है, भगवत दया से मिलता है. गुरु कृष्ण हम पर दया करते हैं और हमको भक्ति लता बीज देते हैं ना. बीज, any beach, any seed, when you put it into the soil, you need to take care of that. And the Bhakti Lata bija, ये भक्ति लता है. भक्ति लता is a creeper of bhakti, and that creeper will grow. You need to nourish it with the sadhana, daily hearing and chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and reading from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and following four regulatory principle. You need to protect that bhakti lata beach, and then that creeper will grow and ultimately take you to the spiritual world. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing, links it to the sowing of seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the planet, throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. Simple. So just like if farmer, how a farmer will regularly, gardener will regularly water a seed, similarly we need to water a seed with hearing and chanting. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hearing Krishna Katha from Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And then the seed fructifies, the creepers start growing, and that will take us ultimately to the spiritual world, to back to Krishna. तेषां सतत युक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धि योगम ते tam येन माम upayanti te. Beautiful verse which we quote quite often. I try and quote as many as times as possible, but let's understand this in a little bit more analytical way. Yena mam upayanti te. Yena mam upayanti te means by which they can come to me. How they can come to me? Because if when I will give them additional intelligence, dadami, I will give them intelligence, I will give the understanding by which they can come to me. Now, when Krishna will give understanding or give that additional buddhi, when Krishna will see us bhajatam priti purvakam, bhajatam, when he will see us performing devotional service in loving way, priti purvakam. Tesham satata yuktanam. Bhajatam pritipurvakam should not be done once a week, Sunday 11 to 1, or every morning from say 6 to 7. Tesham satata yuktanam, constantly. He wants us to do it constantly. Our loving devotional mood towards Krishna should be constant feature in our life. It's not occasional, morning, just before exam, just before my interview, just before my marriage, just before when I just before some problem comes in. When I anticipate some problem, I suddenly become a nice devotee. When the problem go away, I become a ordinary. I don't remain a devotee. I just stop doing everything. Again, I come back to Krishna when I get another problem. So, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, constantly devoted to serving me with love. I gave them understanding by which they can come to me. Such a beautiful verse. Then how does that happen? Krishna says, Tesham evam anukampartham, Tesham eva anukampartham, aham ajana, aham agyana, jam tamaha, nashayam, nashayam atma bhavastho, jnana deepena bhaswata. To show them special mercy, Tesham evam anukampartham, to show them special mercy. Anukampa is a special mercy. I, dwelling in their heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born out of ignorance. So this is again, I will lit a lamp in their heart, and the lamp of knowledge that will what when where there is a lamp, there cannot be darkness. The darkness of ignorance will go away. Let's look at these couple of verses, very beautiful verses. Bhajatam priti purvakam. Let's focus on that word. If bhakti or devotion means love, then love is a sentiment. Then do we have any buddhi, role of buddhi in it? If bhakti is a sentiment, are we supposed to keep aside our intelligence and become a devotee? Does buddhi have any role to play in us becoming a devotee? Very quick comments. Do we need intelligence, or should we just sell our intelligence? And because now we are trying to become devotee of Lord Krishna, we should no more become intelligent.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
I will
Dandavat
make you
Pranam.
co-host so that you can speak last.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vrindamadaji, you want to speak? You are unmuted. You can unmute and speak if anybody wants wish to speak.
Prabhuji,
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
hello. Yeah. So what I think is, if there is intelligence, so devotees usually are mostly don't follow logic, right? And yeah, being irrational, being illogical, and just not overthinking is what devotees do. They just believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So one need not become, one should not be intelligent, and to become a devotee, one need to be unintelligent, or one should keep aside one's intelligence. Correct?
yeah, they should not put logic in whatever they are.
They should. Acha. So it's so if you have to give up logic to become a devotee. Is that fair said?
Mm, yeah, that's what I feel. Because pure devotees, they will be not, they won't follow logic. That's what I feel.
They'll not follow logic. Okay. Anybody else? Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Prabhuji, this is Manju here. I feel that buddhi and bhakti should go together because buddhi would, really guide the devotee in making the right decisions and how to do bhakti. It is sort of showing the path and, as prescribed by the Lord and as prescribed by the texts and script. Because if you don't have buddhi, you don't apply buddhi, how are you going to really understand it and implement it? So it is my belief that buddhi and bhakti go hand in hand.
Okay.
That's my belief.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nice
Hare Krishna.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Kanchan Mataji,
Mm.
and then Vikas Roji.
Jai Shri Krishna Prabhuji. I think that it is essential also and it is non-essential also. If when we are doing bhakti, we don't need buddhi. We need our heart, we need our soul to be contributed to be offered to God. We need to surrender ourselves. But we also need buddhi because we are buddhi jivi and we are living in a world where we are already preoccupied with so much of knowledge which might be good, might not be good. So in order to control our mind, yes, we need that intelligence and knowledge so that we can control our senses. But then to offer and to do a bhakti, it is only heart and soul which we need to surrender to God. That's what I feel.
Okay. Uh, Deepika Mataji, you wanted to, I think you raised your hand. You want, if you wish to speak, you can speak, unmute and speak, or else Vikas Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead. We can hear you.
एक्चुअली हाँ एक्चुअली एक डाउट था मेरे को लाइक अगर निर्गुण और सद्गुण जो रहती है डिवोशनल सर्विसेज उन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या रहेगा?
Acha, acha. So you can ask this question towards the end. So we are in the middle of
ओके ओके
discussion, but you can
ओके
message me and we can get back to the question.
ओके
Vikas
ओके
Prabhuji, you had something to say?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As when Mataji was mentioning that actually the intelligence is required. So because if there will be no intelligence, and as we are joining the Bhagavad Gita session on the very first day, or we are reading scriptures, ultimately we won't be able to understand, and then we won't be able to differentiate that whether this path is to be followed or not to be followed. Then we will come into the trap of anyone and everyone. So at the early stage, the intelligence is very much required. But when we start perceiving practicing devotional services, then ultimately we come to know that so many things happen that is inconceivable. So using our intelligence at that particular point of view, time, that is not required. And that kind of intelligence actually Lord Krishna provides, that how the things are happening, and those are inconceivable. And so ultimately when we do bhajdam, that practical services towards Lord Krishna, with love and devotion, then he provides us that intelligence with which we can understand that everything cannot be perceived with this intelligence what we have got in human form of life, but ultimate intelligence is given by Lord Krishna himself to understand him and to go more and more deeper in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Charishma Mataji, you mentioned something significant. You want to speak? You want to explain this to everyone? You can unmute and speak, Charishma. I see it in the chat, but if you want to speak or elaborate on that, very quick comment last. Yeah, okay. I think let's move forward. Uh, just little 12:32 almost. So we'll probably go little out, little beyond one. But I think this this discussion, these comments from various devotees are really helpful. Helpful in understanding that that you are also following the path, following the logic that what we are where we are coming from, and at the same time you get to hear the various point of views, and that's always helpful in the discussion. So let's move forward on this topic. Let's look at what role is does buddhi have any role? What is the role generally buddhi has? Now, buddhi help us expand our vision when we are driving on the road. When we see things, signs like this, a left turn ahead, or a speed breaker ahead. For example, if we see that kind of a sign, our we will slow down. Now, now, when we say left turn ahead or a speed breaker ahead, we have not yet seen that. It could be 500 meters ahead of us, 1000 meters ahead of us, or even so a tunnel ahead, for example. Now we have not seen the tunnel. We have not seen our to, to the extent our vision goes as a driver. I cannot see that turn. I cannot see that speed breaker or the tunnel. But the moment I see the sign, I interpret it and I slow down. Eventually, I go 500 to 1000 meters. I see that tunnel. I see that speed breaker. So even if my current to my current eyes, the speed breaker and tunnel is invisible, with the knowledge, I it become my it helped me expand my vision. My current vision could be say few meters, but with this now I am able to envision things which are beyond my current vision. So it helps us expand our vision. So knowledge is important. A child sometimes say, I don't want to eat. Now, oh, if you don't have the intelligence, you will feel the child doesn't want to eat. So let child remain hungry, and then you will probably ignore the child. When child like this say, I don't want to eat, what child essentially is saying, only her mother can understand that what is been prepared for the lunch or dinner is what she wants to eat. So the maybe the sabzi prepared could be that of karela, or no, or lauki or whatever that the child is not very fond of, and therefore child says, I don't want to eat. And mother knows, when she says she doesn't want to really eat, what she's really mean, I don't want to eat this sabzi. So instead of letting child hungry just because she's saying, that she doesn't want to eat, she will quickly prepare something else and feed her. So knowledge and intelligence help her get deeper understanding of things and function properly in the world. With intelligence, we can use knowledge in taking practical decision. So with intelligence alone, uh, we can use knowledge, we can translate knowledge into practical action. So knowledge and intelligence are useful in our studies, work environment, office, running business, playing sports, doing investment, etc. Everything. And the knowledge and intelligence is also equally important in bhakti and devotional life. So let's consider a few three verses, important verses. In the second chapter, 49th verse, Krishna says that Durena yuvavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya, that that keep the abominable activities at a far distance by knowledge, by buddhi yoga dhananjaya. So that use your buddhi to differentiate matter and spirit. Choose path which goes towards Krishna, and don't get into things which will take you away from Krishna. Use your buddhi for that. So this is the advice Krishna gave in the second chapter, 49th verse. In the 10th verse, Krishna says, use intelligence to take shelter of Krishna. Depend on him solely to progress in bhakti. Dadami buddhi yogam tvam. I will give you intelligence using which you can progress towards Krishna. Dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena mam upayantite. Now the third, another buddhi reference come in the 18th chapter, 66th verse, where Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Now, this is not the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, that Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Had it been the case, then one could have concluded that you have to give up your intelligence and become simply devotee of Krishna. But Krishna speaks this verse in the last chapter towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, 66th verse, where Krishna says, take shelter of Krishna, putting aside our intelligence. सर्व धर्मान परित्यज्य, सब कुछ छोड़ दो और कृष्ण के शरण ले लो. Now, this is not the first instruction. This is the last instructions of Bhagavad Gita. But to reach this stage, you have to use intelligence. So the intelligence is very much required at the beginning of our process of devotional service. And as we progress further, our with experience, we will be able to put our faith increases in Krishna, and we are able to take deeper and deeper shelter of Krishna. Eventually, we will only take shelter of Krishna, and at that pure devotee stage, we will be able to even give up our intelligence. But that is the last stage of bhakti. At a pure devotee can function at that level. But while serving Krishna, they have been using intelligence. It's not that serving Krishna, they don't, that the intelligence is gone. They take shelter of Krishna for their protection by giving up intelligence. So keep aside intelligence and take shelter of Krishna. But for serving Krishna, you need to use intelligence as well. So Srila Prabhupada use all his skills. All his skill, knowledge, intelligence in expanding Krishna consciousness all over the world. It's not that he was sitting under a tree thinking that Krishna will expand. He took shelter of Krishna for the result, but the action he was performing with intelligence. In Mumbai, Juhu, there was a big court battle that took place. Court case happened. A lot of legal battle that happened in rescuing that plot from a seller who wanted to sell it to different people. Similarly, so Prabhupada used intelligence in serving Krishna, but he took exclusive shelter of Krishna in his mind. He was completely surrendered to Krishna for the result. And that you can keep aside your intelligence and do that. But that is the last stage, not the first stage, not the first instruction. So, role of intelligence is critical. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead simply by speculating. For the supreme truth is so great that it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, he is not a lover of, and If he is not a lover of the supreme truth, he will never understand Krishna or the supreme truth. Only by devotional service is the supreme truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself in the to the heart to the pure devotees. So the four verses at a glance, all of you can please, memorize these very beautiful verses. They can keep chanting these every day. Take brings us to the last section of our today's session. Everywhere, Krishna says, this is longish section chapter 10.12 to 10.42 will not see a lot of verses in here. Now Krishna says this is the Arjuna, with this instruction, after hearing this instruction, Arjuna um, gives a conclusive expression of his understanding of whatever Krishna has spoken so far. Krishna started giving instruction at beginning of second chapter. Natvevaham jatu nasam, from 2.12 onwards, Krishna started speaking predominantly, and he's concluded with this beautiful verse of 10.12. And after that, Arjuna speaks something very significant. Arjuna said, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. Very beautiful verses. Again, param brahma param dhamam pavitram paramam bhavam purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum. So Arjuna is saying that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest and the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asti, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it unto me. Swayam Chaiva Bravishame. Now Arjuna says further that, oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons or, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all being, God of all gods, Lord of the universe. Now, this is where Arjuna accepts Krishna as the absolute truth, the absolute. And whatever Krishna has spoken, he says, I accept that as the truth, as you have told me. Nobody else can understand you. Only you can understand yourself. And unless without your mercy, nobody else can understand you. And because you have declared unto me this, I accept it as the ultimate truth. The change. The somebody, I think Sadhna Mataji or somebody mentioned that bhakti, knowledge and bhakti should bring change in us. We'll not discuss this, but this is typically a very good activity where we go verse by verse and we explain. We ask you what change you can bring learning this verse, and that's for where we do a regular session. We can dedicate a session only for this, and we can go through various verses and ask you a question to reflect on the verse and tell us what change you can bring by learning this verse in your life. What is the practical application of that verse into your life? So, but let's quickly hear one or two thoughts on this. To transcend means to change. Do we need to change after taking up the process of bhakti? One comment, just Sa Sagar Prabhuji. Yes, Sagar Singh. You can unmute and speak, Prabhuji.
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था.
क्वेश्चन
I
बाद में
have,
पूछिए। हाँ, क्या क्वेश्चन था प्रभु?
सर तुलसी माला जो पहनते तो उसके लिए क्या कुछ रूल्स है, क्या रेगुलेशन है, उसके बारे में बता सकते हैं आप?
हाँ, बता सकते हैं प्रभु जी। ये क्लास के बाद में हम लोग बात करेंगे एंड आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू। ओके, आपको
ओके सर.
अब ये क्वेश्चन आंसर, मुझे लगा आपको आंसर देना है।
नहीं नहीं.
दैट्स व्हाई यू रेज द हैंड। साधना, विनोद प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण।
Prabhuji, we need to change. We need to change. We need to go away from the things which are taking away from Krishna, and we need to change to the things which are positive changes we need to bring in our life, in our daily routine, in our activities, which brings us closer to Krishna. So we'll have to differentiate the activities and do the changes in positive as well as negative directions to make sure that we are coming closer to Krishna day by day, uh, action by action.
Yeah. So all of you can reflect. Yeah, Prabhuji, what Prabhuji is essentially saying is that if you learn and don't change way of life, how you will benefit from the knowledge. So in order to benefit from the knowledge, you need to bring some changes. One has to be mentally agreeable, understand that they need to change something in their life. Now, if we'll do old things, we'll get old results. If you have learned new things and if you want to implement those things, you need to bring changes into your life. So with this, let's move forward. The text 16, as I said, we'll not do a detail. We can do a detailed activity on that aspect a bit later. So I'm sorry about all those who raised hand. We couldn't bring in your thoughts. But let's move forward, else we'll not be able to complete this section. So there, the text 16 is Arjuna is now. So up till now, Krishna has spoken, Tushyanti cha, Ramanti ja, and all those beautiful verses Krishna has spoken from the pure devotee's point of view. Now, Arjuna is also thinking about everyone else. Now, Arjuna is also thinking that if I'm not a pure devotee, does it mean that I have no hope until I become pure devotee? Because becoming pure devotee, can be a very tough task. It can take me millions and millions of years. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. It can take millions and millions of births. What is my hope then? So Arjuna is asking now some important questions. That please tell me in detail of your divine opulence by which you pervade all the three world, all these worlds. O Krishna, O supreme mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? Mom, so the instruction is to Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhya cha. So I need to man mana bhava mad bhakto mai avesha mana partha maya avesha mana partha. So I have to constantly think of you. Arjuna is asking a practical question. How can I do that? How shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Antakale cha mam evam smaran muktva kalevaram. Instruction is to remember Krishna. Now Arjuna is asking a practical question, that how can I remember you? O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic powers of your opulence. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The anxious devotee should be eager to hear. Devotee should be anxious to hear about Krishna, and Arjuna is showing that anxiety, that I am never satiated in hearing about you. I'm not say he's not saying बस हो गया अभी बंद कर दो अभी मुझे ये करना है वो करना है. He's saying I want to taste the nectar of your words. I'm never satiated. My heart is never filled only. I want to go on hearing about you and from you. So that should be our mood while hearing. So Arjuna is asking, this coming to the last section of today's chapter. Now Arjuna is essentially asking that in the material existence, how can I remember you? In material existence, there are so many things, so much happening around us. So many things are happening, going on in our life. How can we remember Krishna? Krishna says, Krishna told in Arjuna, remember me and perform your prescribed duties. Then there are two ways of remembering Krishna. One is intense or exclusive remembrance of Krishna, like chanting, deity worship, Krishna Katha, going to Krishna Yatra, Dham Yatra. So that is the time, hopefully, when we should be cut off from the rest of the world and we should give exclusive attention to Krishna. And there is an inclusive verses when we are working at our workplace, we are with our family, we are doing family duty, we are cooking, we are taking care of our families, and while doing all that, also Krishna want us to remember Him. So cultivate remembrance of me. So even while fighting, you can remember me. So by intense or exclusive devotion, by exclusive remembrance, is if when that becomes stronger, when we are not doing sadhana, also we should be able to remember Krishna. We will be able to remember Krishna. That is the whole point. So, in Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, is intensive remembrance of Krishna is recommended. कथयन्तश्च माम नित्या तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च और तेषां सतत युक्तानाम, everything is intense. Even 9 chapter is intense. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. But intensive remembrance is not always possible for everyone, because we have duties towards our family, we have duty to society. Our it is, even if we want to do it, our at our level of purification, it might be impossible for us to do it. Um, so, so Krishna Katha, it happens. Current session go on for 2 hours, and people leave in between. People drop because they have duties to take care of. They have children to feed, guest comes, and so many other things. So even if we want to at our level, it may not be possible for us to to remember Krishna intensely, to perform bhakti intensely. So we need a one level down something as well. So hence Arjuna is asking this question, that hence Arjuna must have inclusive remembrance also, and remember Krishna while performing his duty also. So he need to both in exclusive and inclusive, both way he need to remember Krishna. So this is where Krishna is introducing a concept of Vibhuti, as we discussed. One Krishna is one above the many, manifest as one amongst the many. He's not doesn't belong to the material creation. He's above the material creation, but for our convenience, he's appearing as one amongst many. Bhuta, Bhuta means living entities, and V means Vishesh or something special. So anything that is special in a living entity is called a Vibhuti. And when living entities perceive something special, it is called Vibhuti. Anywhere we see anything great, excellent, outstanding, beautiful, which is attractive, which stands out amongst many, it's called Vibhuti, or it's called a spark of Krishna. Mama Tejo Ansha Sambhavam. Krishna is not just the best being. He is the basis of all being. The in the tennis example we often discuss that there is number one player, and then there are number 50 players. But if number 50 player consistently play well, eventually, and improves his game, eventually he can become number one, and the current number one can become number five. Krishna is not like that. Krishna, you cannot become Krishna, even if no matter how hard you try. Hiranyakashipu make that attempt, but it was failed. Prahlad told him to give away competitiveness, because which is there because of the illusion and the uncontrolled mind. And that will that will destroy you if you continue walking on that path, and that's exactly what happened. So remembering Krishna is not just turning away from the world, but we should see him in the world as well. If everything attractive comes from Krishna, but not everything attractive is taking us to Krishna. Different people have different vibhutis, and they also have free will. So we discussed this in one of the previous session, that of free will, God's will and evil. We have free will, and we can use our free will. We have ability to sing nicely. It is a vibhuti of Krishna. But we can engage that vibhuti, that ability, in singing lusty songs, and which promote rajaguna within our heart, as well as in the heart of those who listen to those songs. Then that will help people forget Krishna. That will not help people come to Krishna. So we should be using this in a singing bhajan, singing kirtan, singing for the pleasure of Krishna. So you may have a vibhuti, we may all have a vibhuti, but not, and that may have come from Krishna, but that will take us to Krishna only if we use it for the pleasure of Krishna, not otherwise. If we use it using our free will for promoting Rajoguna, Tamoguna, even Satvaguna, it will take us away from Krishna. So our deepest experience is our experience of deepest reality, that is Krishna. So if anyone is attracted to anything, no, that is Vibhuti of Krishna. Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Self realization is when we with which is that is the reality. I understand it as a reality, and self actualization is when I am able to exploit the complete potential of what I possess. So Bhagavan Vacha, Krishna says that after hearing this request, Krishna says that, oh, that yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. Pradhanyataha kuru sreshtha, nastya, nastyayanto vistarasya me. Not in detail. Pradhanyataha, only high level, only main, only prominent, I will tell you, the vibhutis. O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. My opulence is limitless. So I cannot tell, I cannot even tell. No. So, uh, so now Arjuna Krishna is going to explain vibhutis in the various shlokas, starting from 21st shlokas and going on till 39 shlokas. Krishna says that this is various things that Krishna speaks and say that is me. Among Adityas, Krishna says, I am Vishnu. Adityanam aham Vishnu. Then luminaries, he says, against the planets, solar planets, I am the sun. Then the wind, I am the Marichi. Against the stars, I am moon. Then verse 22, Vedas, I am Samaveda. Amongst the demigods, I am Indra. Amongst the senses, I am the mind, uncontrollable mind, the sixth sense mind. And amongst the living beings, I am consciousness. Rudras, I am Shankara. Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am Kuvera. I am amongst the Vasus, I am Agni. Amongst the mountain, I am Meru. Among the pieces, I am Bhragapati. Among the priest, I am Brahaspati. Amongst the commanders, I am Kartikeya. Amongst the water bodies, I am ocean. Amongst the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Among the vibration, I am Om. Sacrifices, I am Japa. Japa sacrifice, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Amongst the immovable things, I am Himalaya. Achala. Trees, I am banyan tree. Sage amongst demigods, I am Narada. Amongst Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. Amongst perfect beings, I am Kapila. Amongst horses, he says, I am Ucheshreva. Amongst the lordly elephants, I am Airavata. Amongst men, I am king. King is called Narapati. Amongst the weapon, I am Thunderbolt, or the weapon of Indra. Amongst the cows, I am Surabhi or Kamadhenu. Among the causes of procreation, I am the lust for producing progeny. Amongst the serpents, I am Vasuki. Amongst many hooded snake, I am Anantashesh. Amongst the aquatics, I am Varuna. Amongst the ancestors, I am Aryama. Amongst the dispensers of law, I am Yama. So Yamadev is, Krishna says, I am him. Amongst the demons, I am Prahlad. Amongst the Shudras, I am time. Amongst the beasts, I am the lion. Amongst the birds, I am Garuda. Among the purifying agents, I am wind. Amongst the holders of weapons, I am Rama or Parshurama. Amongst the fishes, I am shark. Amongst the rivers, I am Ganga. Amongst the creation, I am beginning, middle, and the end. Amongst the knowledge, I am spiritual knowledge. Amongst the argument or logicians, I am conclusive truth, Vada. Amongst the letters, I am A. Amongst the compound words, I am the dual compound. Amongst the destroyers, I am time. The beautiful verse. Kalosmi. Amongst the creators, I am Brahma. Among the death that takes place at every moment, the death personified, that devours every living entities, every living thing, which including memory, future manifestation or transformations. I am the generating principle, the birth, woman. I am the fame, fortune, memory, fine speech, and patience, intelligence, and steadfastness. I am the Samaveda hymns. I am the Vratasama. Among the poetry, I'm Gayatri. Among the months, I'm Margashish, which is November and December. Among the seasons, the flower bearing spring season. Amongst the cheaters, Krishna says, I am the gambling match. Amongst the splendid, I'm the splendor. Amongst the victorious people, I am the victory. Those who endeavor, I am their effort or adventure. Among the strong people, I am the strength. Among the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva. Among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Among sages, I am Vyasa. Among thinkers, I am Usana, Shukracharya. Among the means of suppressing lawlessness, I am the punishment, Danda. Um, victory seekers, I am morality, Niti. Amongst the secrets, I am the silence or Mauna. Amongst the wise, I am wisdom. Amongst all existences, I am the seed, Bija. So, like that, Krishna explains all his opulence. But towards the end, he says, there is no end to my divine opulences. That endless. This is endless. So, how can I keep describing? And he says that a spark of Krishna's opulence, a spark of Krishna's splendor is this all this opulence is manifested by simply a spark from his splendor. It's not that he has utilized all his opulences. His opulence is limitless, and from a small spark, all this creation has happened. And Mama Tejo Ansha Sambhavam. So, like that, Krishna says, uh, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Now, this the whole universe is so bewildering to us. Krishna says, by small fragment, single fragment of myself. So it's not at all a burden on Krishna. It's not at all a big thing for Krishna. Now we see a picture of an atlas who is holding earth on his shoulder. Now he's this man, Prabhat, compare that use that analogy and says that that man look very tired. But Krishna is not getting tired of creation, maintenance, and annihilation because it is happening by a small fraction of his entire splendor. So his entire energy is so big, and with a small fraction of that, so if you have $1 billion with a 1 rupee, you're able to do this, that kind of a comparison. That so it's not at all uh, tiring for Krishna. It's not at all endeavoring. Krishna doesn't have to endeavor hard, work hard towards this, achieving creating this whole all this अनंत कोटि ब्रह्मांड नायक. तो अनंत कोटि ब्रह्मांड क्रिएट करने के लिए उनको मेहनत नहीं करना पड़ रहा है. बाय स्मॉल फ्रैक्शन ऑफ हिज power, energy, he is able to do this. So this is we've concluded we've complete the last summary that we have to see Krishna everywhere. Krishna, if we become a pure devotee, we will see Krishna everywhere and everything. But if we don't become a pure devotee, even if we are work in progress devotees, we can still Krishna, we can still see Krishna everywhere in our existence. Wherever we are doing, wherever we wherever we see anything beautiful, wherever we see anything opulent, wherever we see any vibhuti in anyone, we can remember Krishna. And that way we can cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaridhyacha. While doing our duties, while functioning in this world, even if we are not a pure devotee, we can still cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna by knowing Krishna's opulence, by knowing our own abilities come from Krishna, our own talent come from Krishna, our own beauty come from Krishna, and everything that we can see, think, perceive, and experience, everything has emanated from Krishna. And Krishna is that's his Aishwarya, that's his greatness. But his sweetness is he's waiting for me. He's waiting for us to go back to him. He's waiting for us to come back to him. And he's eagerly waiting, and he's endeavoring to bring us, give us various opportunities so that we develop a desire to go back to him. And that way, he's ready to give us additional intelligence. Davdami buddhi yogam tvam yena mam upayantite, using which you can come to me. So intelligence once received, you have to utilize it for coming back to going back to Krishna. And ultimately, we can keep aside our intelligence and depend fully on Krishna when we surrender completely on Krishna. So when we become pure devotee, uh, but is a progression, and we need to follow the process of sadhana bhakti for achieving that aspect. So with this, we'll conclude today's session. We will see if there are any questions. So Sagar Prabhuji, we can and Deepika Mataji, I think you can ask the questions. Swapnil Prabhuji, we can start with you, and then they can follow.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for wonderful session. Prabhuji, you just discussed about Vibhuti. I have the question. When you talk about Vibhuti, we see lot of personalities who are great in singing. They have this Krishna's Vibhuti of good voice, but we also see that they are involved in both singing Bollywood songs and then also getting into deity songs or in bhakti songs. So how do we recognize them as what category they get into? I mean, because the question comes to us personally, we are all Krishna conscious, but at the same time, we are in this materialistic world and doing our nitya karma. So how do we? Because 24 hours, sometimes 24 hours doing bhakti for a grahastha like us, like a fallen soul like us, it's not possible. But we want to recognize ourselves as a Krishna conscious, as a devotee. So how do we improvise ourselves? Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So basically, one is the what is the status of those who are doing both, and so just by singing, bhakti doesn't come by singing. If they are singing as a profession, bhakti is a matter of heart. So need to develop a loving sentiment towards Krishna. If by if I am singing, if a lusty song comes given to me, I sing that. If a devotional song comes to me, I sing that. I believe in none of those. If that is my stage, then by singing those songs, bhakti will not arise. So that's why the professional kathakar जो होते हैं, a lot of people may go and hear, listen to their, if their presentation style is good, a lot of people, they may attract a lot of people, but none of those will become a devotee because the speaker himself is not a devotee. But if you happen to be a lover of Krishna, then even if your voice is, now Prabhupada's voice is not great voice. It's not like somebody like the famous singer. He otherwise would have become a famous singer, but his songs are heard in every temple today. Every ISKCON temple across the globe, they will play Prabhupada bhajan. It's not because but because of his love for Krishna. So even if he's on a scale of whatever the scale to measure your voice quality, Prabhupada's voice may not really fit in there, but doesn't matter. Prabhupada is not the most beautiful looking uh, person. He could not have won the beauty contest for men, but his pictures are there every home. You know, so so when you love Krishna, the so the if you have all the vibhutis, but if you don't surrender to Krishna, if you don't practice devotional service, everything is wasted. And by following such people, even um, we will do harm to ourselves, our own devotional consciousness. So we should be very careful in choosing to whom to follow. So we should follow only those who are devoted to Krishna. And the symptoms we discussed in one of the previous slides, that how we can understand just by observing that if they are really dedicated to Krishna or not. So we should not waste our time, money, effort, energy in following those who are not Krishna conscious. That's one. Second is how can we remember Krishna if we are not the intense exclusive remembrance is not possible for us. We can't do japa 24 hours. We can't hear Krishna Katha 24 hours. Uh, and so for that, and we will need to go out Monday morning to a workplace which is not, which is a building created with the material provided by Krishna. Intelligence, building design is designed by somebody, so that intelligence and the artistic creativity also is manifestation of Krishna. The building is constructed using material which is supplied by Krishna. So just by seeing your office building, you should remember Krishna. So just by seeing a person who is creating a beautiful design of construction site, you should remember Krishna, because that the intelligence of the intelligent people comes from Krishna. Ability in men and women come from Krishna. So wherever you see, yeah, and in your workplace, you will demonstrate some abilities and you will witness some abilities being demonstrated by others. And every time you see things, you should, all of that should give remembrance of Krishna. When you sip water glass, we should remember Krishna. So, therefore, it's important that these chapters 7 to 12, we should constantly be constantly reading, so that we will never forget Krishna while functioning in this world also. And that's precisely the reason why Arjuna asked this question, that up till now, whatever Krishna has spoken was more applicable to a pure devotee. That satata kirta yanto mam namasya नमस्यन्तु दृढ़व्रता सतत कीर्तयन्तो मान. So constantly the pure devotee will be able to remember Krishna, chant Krishna's name constantly. Satata kirtayanto mam. Namasyanta dridhavrata. So that way, a pure devotee, it is easy for a pure devotee, because pure devotees are in complete love with Krishna. They know nothing else other than Krishna. But what about others? We are in work in progress. So for us, Arjuna has spoken about these beautiful verses, and as a result of which, Krishna elaborately explained his opulence. Now, if you remember, read these opulences every now and then. His time, the death you see is Krishna. The intelligence and the strength of the strong people is Krishna. So if an Olympian, you're watching news, if you see somebody, throwing a winning a gold medal by throwing something or running faster, Krishna, those abilities come from Krishna. So, like that, when we cultivate our consciousness, when we nourish our consciousness with the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, it will be possible eventually for us to remember Krishna all the time, constantly. Even if we are not doing japa, we should be able to remember Krishna that way. Okay, Prajit? Yes, Sagar Prabhuji, you had a question, right?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Thank
हरे
you
Krishna.
very
कृष्ण
much.
प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि तुलसी माला कैसे पहनने के क्या नियम है और क्या क्या रूल्स फॉलो करने पड़ते हैं। करीबी जनरली मैंने सुना है कि तुलसी माला पहनने तो लहसुन प्याज ये सब बंद करना रहता है, तो इसके बारे में प्रभु जी प्लीज मुझे गाइड करें।
या सो तुलसी माला, हम जब भक्ति में सीरियस हो जाते हैं, तब हमें बोला जाता है कि आप तुलसी माला पहन सकते हैं। और सीरियस होना, ये एज वी डिस्कस ना, आज भी लेक्चर में हमने सुना कि सीरियस होना ये सब मेंटली सीरियस होना नहीं है, बट एक्चुअली सीरियस होना भी है। जैसे कि मेंटल सीरियस होकर हम अगर कांदा लहसुन छोड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं, तो दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम, सो दैट देन इट्स नॉट सीरियस इनफ। सो सो अब द फोर रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स अगर फॉलो करने में दिक्कत आ रही है, तो वी शुड अवॉइड वेयरिंग तुलसी माला। द So the basically is by wearing tulsi mala, you are indicating that you want to become a sincere devotee, and you want to become a serious devotee, not a occasional, ऐसे सीजनल डिवोटी नहीं है कि अभी कार्तिक आ रहा है तो मैं अच्छे से भक्ति करूंगा, बाद में भूल जाऊंगा। यू नो द मेनी पीपल ट्राई टू बिकम डिवोटीज लाइक दैट। सो एग्जाम आ रहा है तो मैं भक्ति बनूंगा, मेरे कुछ प्रॉब्लम, कोई बीमार कर गया मेरे माता पिता, तो मैं अचानक से भक्त बन जाता हूँ। तो ऐसा नहीं करना है। वी टू बिकम अ सीरियस सिंसियर डिवोटी, देन वी शुड बी वी शुड बी ready to make of some changes in our life. And when those changes are made, our seniors will eventually guide us कि अभी आप तुलसी माला पहन सकते हो. So ये decisions प्रभु जी आइसोलेशन, भक्ति ना आइसोलेशन में नहीं करनी है हमको. It's this is important for all of us. We should all have our guide, mentors. एंड भक्ति में फ्रेंड होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. यू शुड हैव फ्रेंड्स इन डिवोटी, डिवोटी फ्रेंड्स होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड सम मेंटर होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बिकॉज अदरवाइज क्या करेंगे, एकांत की हरेर भक्ति उत्पात एव कल्पते. एकांतिकी मतलब हम अकेले सोचेंगे ना कि देन वी कैन स्टार्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग आवर ओन लॉजिक, आवर ओन फिलोसफी. देन वी विल गो अवे फ्रॉम द इंस्ट्रक्शंस गिवन बाय प्रभुपाद, इंस्ट्रक्शंस गिवन बाय कृष्णा. सो इसलिए हमें भक्ति गाइडेंस में करनी है, किसी का मार्गदर्शन में करनी है. वी हैव टू एक्सेप्ट समबडी एज अ अथॉरिटी. हम ऑफिस जाते हैं, आप यू वर्क इन मेट्रो, सो यू डोंट गो एंड स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन योर ओन, करेक्ट. आप गाइडेंस लेते हैं. कोई तो आपको बोलता है कि आज आप ये करेंगे, कोई तो आपको बोलता है कि ये आप कर रहे हो बट आप दूसरा इंपॉर्टेंट काम आ गया है वो कर कीजिए. सो कोई तो प्रायोरिटाइज करता है कुछ काम. सो कुछ गाइडेंस करते हैं, हम अपने मन से कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So we follow a method. Similarly, in bhakti also we have to follow a method. So आपके जो mentor है, आपको जो टच में है डिवोटी भक्त, आप उनसे भी बात करिएगा. बट दिस इज अ जनरल प्रिंसिपल कि जब when we become sincere in our devotee, serious devotee, when we at least have a desire to become serious devotee and we are ready to make some changes in our lifestyle, then it can be considered appropriate to wear a tulsi mala. And some stage your senior devotee will advise you कि अभी आप पहन सकते हैं. ओके ब्रो जी. सो आप आपके सीनियर डिवोटीज के टच में रहिए और उनसे भी पूछिएगा मैं कब पहन सकता हूँ. ओके.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्णा ब्रो जी. Go to chat box to see if there are any questions.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा.
मैंने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि सद्गुण और निर्गुण डिवोशनल सर्विस में क्या डिफरेंस है?
सगुण एंड निर्गुण डिवोशनल सर्विस. सगुण एंड गुरु निर्गुण माता जी, ये भगवान की, भगवान को डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए समटाइम्स यूज किया जाता है. गुण मीन्स सत्व रजो तमो गुण. एंड सगुण मीन्स जो ये गुणों के अधीन है, ये गुणों के अंडर है. सत्व रजो तमोस गुण के जो नीचे है तो उनको बोलते हैं सगुण. And Nirguna is the one who is above these gunas, above the gunas. So if you see the picture of Krishna, I'll just share that picture. So ये पिक्चर में ये तीन गुण हैं and Krishna is above them. So what it means is कृष्णा गुणों के अधीन नहीं है. कृष्णा की actions, whenever Krishna act, he is not under the influence of these gunas. So therefore द लॉ ऑफ नेचर जो हम जो हमें लागू होता है वो भगवान को लागू नहीं होता है. इफ यू सी दिस पिक्चर, दिस इज सत्व रजस तमस. सो दे आर जैसे कि कठपुतली होती है ना, वैसे वो कंट्रोल करते हैं एक्शन सारे लोगों के. 3.27 में भी आप देखेंगे तो 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 उसमें भगवान वही बोलते हैं कि दैट जो एक्चुअल एक्शन तो गुणों के द्वारा होता है. और अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ता हम इति मन्यते. अहंकार के कारण मूर्ख को लगता है, मतलब ह्यूमन बीइंग को लगता है कि वो कर रहे हैं. मतलब आज मैं जाके ऑफिस में काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं जाके ये अचीव कर रहा हूँ, मेरा ये अचीवमेंट है, ये मैंने पास किया, ये मेरा सर्टिफिकेट है, ये मुझे लगता है मैं कर रहा हूँ. पर ये होता है गुणों से होता है, सत्व रजो तमो उस गुण से होता है. एंड कृष्णा इज अबव दोज गुणास. देयरफॉर कृष्णा इज नॉट बाउंड बाय द रूल्स ऑफ द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड. जैसे एक किंग, प्राइम मिनिस्टर, प्रधानमंत्री ने जेल बनाई है, प्रधानमंत्री ने जेल में सुपरिटेंडेंट भी अपॉइंट किया है, और प्रधान जेल के सुपरिटेंडेंट ने जेल के कैदियों के लिए काफी सारे रूल्स बनाए हैं. बट प्रधानमंत्री के लिए वो रूल अप्लीकेबल नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री जेल से अबव है और सुपरिटेंडेंट के भी ऊपर है. एक दिन प्रधानमंत्री घूमते घूमते जेल जा सकते हैं, जेल में आ सकते हैं देखने के लिए कि सब व्यवस्था ठीक है कि नहीं. जब खाना मिल रहा है कि नहीं, क्या क्वालिटी का खाना मिल रहा है, जेल के लोगों से बात कर सकते हैं कि अभी छोड़ दो ये सब चोरी डकैती, आप अच्छे आदमी बनो। ही कैन गिव अ स्पीच टू देम टू इंस्पायर देम टू बिकम गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग्स। नाउ यू मे सी कि प्रधानमंत्री भी अभी जेल में है, बट प्रधानमंत्री अपने मर्जी से आए हैं जेल में, और अपने मर्जी से भी वो चले भी जाएंगे। प्रिजनर्स ऐसे नहीं कर सकते, जो कैदी है वो ऐसे नहीं कर सकते। वो अपनी मर्जी से यहाँ नहीं आए हैं, वो गवर्नमेंट की मर्जी से आए हैं, किसी जज की मर्जी से आए हैं, और उनको पकड़ के लाया गया है। वो अपने मर्जी से बाहर नहीं जा सकते। जब उनका बिहेवियर सुधरेगा, जब उनकी शिक्षा कंप्लीट होगी, तब वो बाहर जा सकते हैं। बट प्रधानमंत्री कैन come in and go out anytime. So, because and the rule when he is inside the jail also, जो सुपरिटेंडेंट ने रूल्स बनाए हैं वो उनको अप्लीकेबल नहीं होते हैं। अगर वहां पे बोलो रूल होगा 3 घंटा धूप में काम करो सारे कैदियों के लिए, अब प्रधानमंत्री आज 15 अगस्त में गए बंद जेल में, तो वो उनको नहीं बोलेगा कि आप भी काम करो, आप जेल में आए हो, बिकॉज none of those rules apply to प्रधानमंत्री। so प्रधानमंत्री may or may not follow some rules. So that way, Saguna Nirguna is one who is Nirguna is above the modes of material nature. Saguna is under the influence of the modes of nature. और ये भगवान को डिस्क्राइब किया जाता है। हम तो सगुण है ही, हम हमारी सारी एक्शंस।
जो हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं ना भगवत गीता के थ्रू, और अपन ये सारे सेशंस अटेंड कर रहे हैं, वो कौन से गुण में आता है?
ये अकर्मा में आता है। अकर्मा इज एक्शन विच डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस एनी रिएक्शन। भक्ति भक्ति योगा के एक्शंस जो है वो दो तरह से काम करते हैं। एक तो वो आपके अ, पिछले कर्मों का नाश करते हैं, और नए कर्म प्रोड्यूस नहीं करते, नए कर्म फल। हमारे एक्शंस प्रोड्यूस अ फ्रूट, ये आपको समझना है कि हम कोई भी एक्शन करें वो एक फ्रूट तैयार करता है। आपने अच्छा एक्शन किया तो अच्छा फ्रूट होगा, और बुरा एक्शन किया तो उसका एक सफरिंग वाला बुरा फ्रूट होगा। एंड these are called reactions of our activity. Every action has a reaction. These reactions accumulate as a fruit. उसका एक फल बनता है, और उनका एक फलित होने का समय होता है। समय पे वो फ्रुक्टिफाई होता है। फ्रुक्टिफाई होता है मतलब हमको आके डिलीवर होता है। ये फ्रूट आ, हम हमेशा से करते आए हैं। हमें इस जन्म में नहीं, पिछले मिलियंस एंड बिलियंस ऑफ लाइफ टाइम हमने एक्शंस किए थे, और उसके कुछ ना कुछ फ्रूट हमारे खाते में जमा है। सो व्हेन जब हम सब जब हम भक्ति करते हैं, तो ये सारे पिछले और ये फ्रूट्स का इफेक्ट क्या होता है। ये फ्रूट अगर अच्छे हैं तो हमें एंजॉय करने मिलता है, फ्रूट बुरे हैं तो हमें सफरिंग होती है। बट ये टू एंजॉय एंड टू सफर वी हैव टू रिपीटेडली टेक बर्थ इन डिफरेंट बॉडी। तो हमें बारंबार जन्म लेके ये हमारा बैलेंस क्लियर करना पड़ता है। सो बट भक्ति करने से क्या होता है, भक्ति करने से प्रभात राइट्स एट कृष्णा ऑल्सो कन्फर्म्स इट इन 2-3 वर्सेस इन दिस सेक्शन ओनली वी हैव डिस्कस कि आप भक्ति करेंगे तो ये जो पिछले फ्रूट्स है जिनके कारण आपके आपको फ्यूचर में बर्थ लेना पड़ेगा, तो ये सारे पिछले फ्रूट्स भी मैं डिस्ट्रॉय करूंगा। और जो अभी जो आपके कर्म हो रहे हैं उसमें कोई नए फ्रूट पैदा नहीं करने दूंगा। सो ये अकर्मा हो जाएगा। अकर्मा इज द दैट एक्शन विच डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस अ रिएक्शन। एंड दिस एक्शन द भक्ति योगा भक्ति एक्शन हैज, जैसे जपा है, जैसे लिस्टिंग टू कृष्ण कथा है, फास्टिंग ऑन एकादशी है, विजिटिंग मंदिर मंदिर जाना है, भगवान के दर्शन लेना, भगवान को मन मना मतलब भगवान का चिंतन करना, भक्ति करना, डीटी वर्शिप करना, लड्डू गोपाल की सेवा करना, भगवान को दंडवत करना, ये सारे चीजें करने से हमारे पिछले कर्मों का फल जो है वो भी विनाश हो सकते हैं, विनाश होंगे रादर। एंड सो दैट इज द भक्ति गिव्स यू ड्यूअल बेनिफिट। आपके पिछले कर्म भी नाश हो रहे हैं और नए कर्म बन नहीं रहे। सो यू बिकम एलिजिबल इवेंचुअली टू गो बैक टू कृष्णा। तो यू डोंट हैव टू टेक बॉडी, आपको फिर से जन्म लेने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, क्योंकि आपको पिछले फ्रूट्स ही नहीं है। देन यू कैन go to spiritual world taking spiritual body. That is the benefit of practicing bhakti yoga. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for nice question. Swapnil Bhaji, you have one more question?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, मेरा प्रश्न थोड़ा सा अलग है, परंतु जैसे कि हम लोग काफी आचार्य के वीडियोस और यूट्यूब में देखते हैं, उसमें गौर गोपाल दास का भी हम लोग काफी फॉलो करते हैं। तो गौर गोपाल दास इज अ वेरी गुड ओरेटर, ही हैज अ विभूति एंड ही एक्सप्लेन्स इट इन अ वेरी वेरी नाइस वे। लेकिन जब उनके वीडियोस देखते हैं तो वो कृष्ण प्रशंसा करते हैं, कृष्ण के भक्त भी हैं, डिवोटी भी हैं, लेकिन उनका जो प्रवचन होता है वो विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू ह्यूमन क्वालिटीज हैं और वो हम सुनते हैं। तो क्या हमें उन्हें सुनते रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि ही डजंट टोटली टॉक अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिज्म, बट ही टॉक्स अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिज्म इन अ डिफरेंट वे।
Correct.
तो
So,
उसमें
Gaur
थोड़ा सा
Gopal,
हमें
yeah. So that's a so how do we see this? We should see what he does. He lives in temple, gets up every day, attends Mangalarti, completes his round. He's a servant of Radhanath Maharaj, and he's completely devoted to the movement. He takes Bhagavatam classes. And then rest of the time he will speak. So if you follow his actions, you will benefit more. If you follow his actions, he will benefit more. Uh, it is different ways people feel inspired to serve, and we can't label anything as right and wrong. But bringing Prabhuji speaks predominantly to help people come to a sattva guna, a sattvic platform at least give up, come, rise above that rajoguna, tamoguna, and come to the sattva. And he himself demonstrated with his own action. So those who are listening to him to hope improve their relationship with their spouses or their friends and all those things definitely can benefit. But ultimately, if they are more intelligent, they will understand, they will inquire, they'll go deeper, right? This is superficial. This is the words that he speaks, and they definitely carry value, and those are important as well. But if you really become, if you're really intelligent, you will go deeper and understand what is it that he consider very valuable. That his sadhana, his daily sadhana, he considers it to be very valuable to him, and then you should hope to replicate him on that front. So, because then you are even transcending the sattva guna, you are coming to the shuddha sattva. When you are performing devotional service, you are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. For your initially, at least for your purification, but eventually for pleasure of Krishna. So if you can develop that mood, then by replicating his actions, by replicating his sadhana, you will benefit more, because then you will simply rise above the gunas, right? All the three gunas. And then you'll no longer be worried about which guna you are functioning. And as Prabhupada has mentioned in so many places, that once you become a devotee, all good qualities will manifest in you. So it's not difficult for you then to all of those good qualities which he may be trying to teach one after another, one by one, will automatically manifest you in, if you become a good devotee, if you become a sincere devotee of Krishna and take up sincere japa, sincere reading of Bhagavatam. So then there is nothing to worry about. So that is how I will look at it. So replicate his actions, and yeah, I mean, because if you're already aware of Bhagavad Gita philosophy, his outreach is to people who are not in the Krishna consciousness, obviously. So, but those who are in Krishna consciousness, they can listen to Radhesham Prabhuji, they can listen to Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji, they can listen to Narottam Prabhuji, they can listen to Sitaram Sri Haridas, and so on and so forth. There are so many. Keshav Swami Maharaj is another very good speaker, and they will speak tattva, they will speak practical tattva, and by listening to them, one lifetime can go by listening to these names also. So what to speak of you having time? You will have no time to listen to anyone else. So that is guaranteed. If there is enough spoken by these wonderful devotees, and if you can hear this and implement this, that's good enough for you for this lifetime. And hopefully, then you will become pure devotee by the end of this lifetime, and you will go back to Krishna. So that no more birth, no more lifetimes, another no more attempt to trying to become devotee. It's perfected and go back to Krishna. That can also be done in one lifetime. Okay.
Yeah. Hari Bol Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Don't see any other questions. So let's conclude today's session. And thank you everyone for staying back. It's almost 30 hour past 1 o'clock. So sorry about the delay, but the group discussion helps, and very happy everyone contributed so nicely. Kanchan Mataji, you have a question? We can take one last question.
I wanted to know more about the Vrindavan trip which you just shared, the program which is happening in Vrindavan.
I'll call you, Mataji. We can explain you, and we can discuss later
Oh,
offline.
okay.
Okay.
Sure,
But just for the benefit of others, we are
sure.
leaving on, I think, 24th, and we are coming back on 3rd November. And you can come for the entire yatra, or you can come for part of the yatra. I'll share with you the registration link, and there we'll be going around different places. We'll be covering Govardhan Hill in a detail. We'll go to many places within Govardhan with Dinbandhu Prabha, and we'll also do a normal parikrama. Plus, we'll go to different places, specific places in Vrunda and in Govardhan for for s-
Is it
for those days.
parikrama by walking?
We use vehicles. We have vehicles, buses required because we generally stay close to ISKCON temple in Vrindavan, and from there the Govardhan can be 20-25 kilometer away. So we have buses. We arrange for buses and etc. Everything. And with that, once we go there, yes, once we go reach Govardhan, from there there will be a lot of walking required. Yes, you're right. Quite a lot walking happens
So that
in yatras especially. Sorry.
that case, I'm anxiously waiting for.
Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, we can call, we can discuss offline, and then we can give you more information about the yatra. Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Prabhuji.
everyone. And yeah, we'll conclude today's session. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय,
जय
जय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा
हरे
प्रभु।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.